Hey y'all, it's Chimdi. So in this video, I want to talk about being in that who am I to stage of your life. Someone left a comment about how, you know, they see the way I'm showing up here on YouTube and making videos about all types of things. All types of things. I had one of my clients actually comment, because I'm a creative coach, I help YouTubers show up consistently and authentically. One of my clients was like, I love the way you just feel comfortable making a hair video. I love the way you feel comfortable making non-stop videos about healing, spirituality, trauma, and then you're like, hey guys, hair tutorial. This is a misquote, but that was the gist. And I loved it because it's true. I'm gonna do what I wanna do on my YouTube channel. I'm gonna do what I wanna do on my YouTube channel. But in my defense, I have made hair tutorials in the past. We're not defending the hair tutorials, so if you wanna watch it, you know, it's linked. But anyway, what I wanna talk about is that I can relate to being in that stage of like, who am I to do X, Y, or Z? And I can relate to being in that stage of trying to have a particular strategy and being really obsessed with views. So I know what that's like. And so I just wanna reflect and share and reflect on my own journey and hopefully share some wisdom that'll help you out. Before we get into it, thank you, Patreon people. I love you. I love you. I think I'm thinking about how I'm single and I don't say I love you to a man. Whenever I'm saying I love you, I'm saying it to my Patreon people. I'm like, I love you so much, so much. And also subscribers, I love you so much. Y'all are the best. Okay, let's get into this video. I was rereading the comment because I was like, I really want to connect to the energy of the comment before I start talking about this. And something that you said in this comment was, I'm in this who am I phase, and I wish I could create like you and not be obsessed with views or strategy. What's so beautiful about the YouTube journey is every stage I'm in, I realize that the creators I really admire have been there too and have transcended it, and that's why they are where they are. And so it actually makes me feel really like close to them and really like I have this sense of belonging, because I'm like, oh, y'all know exactly what it's like to go through this, and y'all have had to go through it, and now you're on the other side. So I just want to first say I've been exactly where you are, and in some ways I'm still there too, and I like very actively have to presence and process the ways I still also believe,
who am I to be talking
and teaching about these things? Like, what makes me an authority? And so I want to share a couple of examples in my own life where I faced that and some of the processing and presencing I've done. I talk a lot on my channel about like manifestation, about manifesting money, about like doing the inner work, about like creating in your life. I'm a creative coach, but my finances are not, like, I'm not debt free yet. I've been debt free before, but I'm not debt free now. I'm living with my sister. Like, I have videos that'll like go viral, and I have lots of videos that get just a couple hundreds of views. So a lot of times I'm like, who am I to be this person teaching others about their YouTube career, about, you know, what they can do better and how they can learn and all of these things, right? Like, what makes me an authority? And I was actually really feeling that recently. And then I got a comment from someone who literally mirrored exactly what I thought back at me, which was so helpful. And I think when we have comments that like hurt our feelings, it's because there's some part of us that believes it too, and it's being mirrored back at us. And I think it's being mirrored back at us so we can, you know, process it and release it. And the person said, maybe you should stop making videos about this. You know, and I was like, my feelings were hurt. I think I did delete the comment immediately. And yeah, my feelings were hurt, but I knew it was because that's what I was thinking, was like, maybe I'm like leading people astray, right? Like with my content. And I have, of course, many, many, many examples of people saying,
girl, this was amazing, this was right on time, this really resonated.
I have so many examples of people saying the opposite, so I know that isn't the true narrative. But when there is a part of you that believes it, just one comment saying it will be like, ooh, you know, like it'll really get you in the gut, right? But for me, not only those comments sort of saying, we really appreciate what you've shared and how you show up is really, you know, it's really blessing us, but also just looking at the evidence of my own life and putting it in context has gone such a long way. So lately I have just been looking at my recent uploads. And so I've been creating this story that says, my videos don't really get that many views, you know, I'm not really that like successful on YouTube. And then I was like, girl, why don't you just look at your videos from most popular? And then it totally changed my framework, because now I'm looking at videos that have hundreds of thousands of views, tens of thousands of views, thousands of views, and I'm just like, right, I've made videos that have like really resonated with people. And then I was actually doing some research around YouTube. I saw this post that said it's only 10% of YouTube channels that are even monetized. And I've been monetized for years and years and years. So just me being a monetized channel, much less getting usually over $100 a month from YouTube, that puts me in the top 10%. There's this old-timey motivational man named Earl Nightingale, and I was listening to one of his like YouTube speeches. I'll link it here if you want to see it. And he talks about attitude and how important it is, and how within a couple of years you could be in the top 5% of your profession, if not sooner. And I remember hearing that and being like, wow, top 5%. But then as I'm looking at this stuff where it's like literally the top 10% is to just be monetized. Like I'm literally in the top 5% now because I am monetized, because I get money from YouTube, because I have videos that have gotten over 1,000 views and have, in fact, hundreds of thousands of views. That puts me in a super duper small percentage of YouTube creators. I've been comparing myself to like the 0.01% of YouTube. It's sort of like being like a business owner and then comparing yourself to like Mark Zuckerberg or Jeff Bezos, and saying like,
I just wish.
I just wish I was running an Amazon style company, right? And it's we can understand in that context why that's an extreme comparison. But within the YouTube world, if you're kind of seeing a lot of creators who have these huge audiences and are getting all these big brand deals and all these sponsorships, you're like, if I'm not getting that, then I'm basically nothing, right? And so just to understand the context of like, oh, wait a minute, literally I wouldn't have to do anything else and I would still be in the top 5% of YouTube, that kind of shook everything for me. And I also want to name that I can relate to that thinking around the strategy of YouTube, the niching down, the video topics, and wanting to really be so intentional about what I'm creating so that I could get the results that I wanted. And I think with that approach, you really kind of step out of the creative process, which is really just to be like struck with inspiration, to let an idea come into your head and then make it and create it and like let it flow out. And you start thinking about, okay, in 2 weeks, in 6 months, in 5 years, like you basically take yourself out of this present moment so that you can plan for and create future present moments that you actually won't even be there to enjoy, because the process, like the practice of being present, you need to do it now so that later you can also still be in the now enjoying it. But if you're like, okay, I'll be happy once I get this many subscribers with this many views, you literally are postponing your life and you're postponing your joy for this future moment that will literally never come, because you have to be present and having a good time in the process of creation to get these things that you want that are down the line. And I made a video about how the outer world reflects your inner world, and I talk about this coach that I hired who at first I was like, she doesn't know what she's talking about, and I thought the advice that she was giving was super woo-woo and not at all like grounded, because I wanted specific strategies. And then literally it took me a year to really hear what she was saying, which was like, essentially, if the strategy doesn't work for you, it's not gonna work. It'd be a waste of time to just copy and paste someone else's strategy, because that worked for them and you are not them, you are you. And I really didn't want to hear that, because I was like, no, there are definitely best practices, there are definitely things I could do. I know there's things that I could do that would help me get what I want. But I think what I'm realizing, what I have realized, is that it's not that you need to look at someone else to understand what it is that you need to do. You know, we can be inspired by people and we can admire people and all that, but we kind of know intuitively what to do. An example I'm thinking of is I was working with a coaching client of mine. They were reflecting on how to build retention on YouTube, right? Trying to get monetized and get those watch hours up. And one of the strategies was, you know, at the end of your video, when you finish talking about your topic, you say, hey, if you like this video, you'll probably like this other video, and you just kind of have it there ready to go. And I was thinking like, oh, that's a great idea. That's a great best practice. And I was thinking, why don't I do that? Like, if there's a best practice, you should do the best practice, right? And I realized it's because I do that already in my own way. So what I'll do is I'll be talking to you about something. It'll remind me of a video, and I'll just say, this is like that video I just made. I'll put my little thumbnail on the screen. I'll have the iCard pop up with the link. You watching it in that moment, you may click and be like, oh, I want to know what she's talking about. Or at the end of the video, and I know this because I've done this, but I'm watching a YouTuber, they have something pop up about another video they've made. And at the end of the video, I'm like, oh, I actually did want to see what they were talking about. And I will rewind and I will find that spot, or I will look in the description to see what they linked to and then go watch that video. These best practices, we have our own way of doing them, and they come organically and naturally to us. This wasn't something I had to effort and practice to do. It felt naturally when I'm talking to you about a topic to be like, oh, well, let me mention than this other thing I talked about. And that for me came from a place of like not wanting to be presumptive that you have seen my other videos. Like I'm not gonna assume you're here every day, every week, and you know everything I've ever been through, you know what I mean? But it also came from a place of, if you are someone who has seen my videos, I don't want you to think that I don't know I'm repeating myself, you know? Because I'm the one making these videos. I know how many times I'll be like, I'm referencing remote year again. So if you've been here for a while, you know about remote year. Some people don't. But if you know what I'm talking about, I don't need to get into it with you. And so I'll just reference, I made a video about this, and I'll keep it cute, right? But it comes organically as you create these ways of being with yourself, with what you're making and with your audience. And I think what really has allowed me to step into myself and my own identity as a YouTube creator and as a human being is understanding that fundamentally no one sees the world like I do. Like they can't, because no one has lived my experience. It's only been me. So there are specific ways I experience life that truly no one knows and will never know unless I tell them. And I think that's what's really beautiful about having your own perspective and why it's so important that you don't try to be like someone else or duplicate someone else's stuff. The gift you have is you. Like, unless you share what it's like to be you, we will never know, and we can never know, and you will go to your grave without the world understanding the way the world lived in you. But if you share that, you give us a gift that is literally like beyond words and beyond value. Like it is so incredible. And when I think about, I love movies and TV and media, and when I think about some of the movies I've seen and the ones that really resonate, they show me the world in a way that I'm so grateful that I could just see it through their eyes. And I can relate to it because I have things in common, but in many ways it's completely brand new. And I'm so grateful that they showed it to me, because I literally would not have known it existed unless they had showed it to me. And that is incredible. And so realizing that fundamentally how you see the world cannot be replicated, I think will hopefully inspire you to show up in your particular way. And I know there are creators I admire, there are artists I admire, there are Black women I admire, there are coaches I admire. There are so many people who I look to, and I look to their path as a potential way that I could mold my own career, but no one is exactly it. There's no one who I'm like, the way you did it, I want to follow that step by step by step by step by step to get where you are now. There are elements where I'm like, oh, this part is cool, that part is cool, but literally there's no one who actually is the blueprint, because I am creating the blueprint as I live my life. And people watching me, y'all can't be exactly what I am and exactly what I'm doing, but you'll be your own thing in your own way that'll be incredible. And that's like the whole point, right? Is that we each have this perspective. And that's one of the reasons I love being a YouTube coach, is because I feel like my job is literally helping people show up as themselves, which is a blessing to me. Like I'm literally in the process of manifesting blessings for myself every time I help one of my coaching clients. It's amazing. And then of course they benefit in the process because then they're like, oh my gosh, this is so amazing. And I'm like, isn't it? Oh my gosh, it's literally my favorite. And I feel so grateful that a thing I love to do, I get to help other people love as well. And like, that's literally how I pay my bills. And I'm very honored for that. So just wanted to give you a little bit of inspiration, a little bit of motivation. I know you just left that comment and you wasn't expecting anything, but I just wanted you to know that it really resonated with me, because I have been there. Lots of people have been there. And I have no doubt that you'll get to where I am, where you're like, oh my gosh, I'm so glad and so grateful that I can show up as often as I want in this place of joy. And I know I have people who are watching my videos, being inspired and leaving comments, and what a blessing, and how far, look how far I've come, I see that for you, and I know it's gonna happen for you, and I'm excited for you to come back to my channel and be like, hey girl, it happened for me. And I'm gonna be like, I knew it.